up. It's been sitting in them for a few seconds, so I scrub the rest of him. And now we're gonna go ahead and rinse. Again, I've got my water on a nice low pressure, so I'm not overwhelming him. I'm gonna start with his head and face, and just like earlier, work from the highest point down. So I don't have to re-rinse areas. And just gonna let him know what I'm doing and gently start with his chin and then work my way over the top of his head and his nose. Be really careful to not get it in his little nose. And it may take a few extra seconds to rinse it on such low pressure, but when your dog is happy and relaxed and cooperative, it makes things go much faster and easier for everybody. So take the time to slow down, turn your pressure down, and gently rinse their faces. And that's how you get dogs that stand really well for their bath and getting their face washed and rinsed. Alright, I'm going to rinse his ears. I'm going to start by gently turning the leather so I can see the inside of the leather, but notice that I'm not lifting that leather up. I want to keep it down, and I'm going to keep my flow of water going down so that water flows over that ear canal opening and not in. And then I can turn the ear over and get the front side. I'm going to make sure I get that little tuck of skin right behind the ear as well. It doesn't help when you put your head all the way down, buddy. So again, I'm going to turn that ear leather towards me, but still going down. Rinse the ear leather. Turn it back and get this side of the ear leather and behind the ear. And now my head and face and ears are completely rinsed. And now I can get a little bit more pressure and start rinsing the rest of his body, starting from this top part. And I'm just following the pattern that's with the flow of gravity, so that my fresh waters keep rinsing everything down, down, down. Make sure that you're rinsing underneath your loops and leaves. And so we're not leaving soap on the skin underneath there. And in this little tucks of skin on the neck, make sure we're getting all the soap out of that area. And everywhere we work so hard to get that soap into all the cracks and crannies, we're going to work just as hard to get it rinsed out, including those armpits and flanks and under the tail, sorry. Make sure I'm not leaving any soap behind whatsoever, because if it's left on the skin, it will irritate the skin. So my rule of thumb for rinsing is you rinse and you rinse and you rinse and you rinse and you rinse until you're absolutely sure you rinse all the soap, and then you rinse it again. That way you know. Sometimes I like to lift their leg a little to rinse their crotch. Some dogs have a lot of flaps of skin right between the legs. And so this way, by lifting a little bit, I know I'm getting the soap out of every little flap of skin. And make sure we get those paw pads. We work really hard to work the shampoo into the paw pads in between the toes. So we gotta work just as hard to rinse it out of those areas. And come forward on this tummy. I'm also feeling as I go along with my other hand to make sure that I don't feel the slipperiness of any soap anywhere in the coat and skin. Lift that and get the paw pads. And we're going to turn it to this side. In this bathtub, we have this really nice lifted grate. At some other salons, you may not have that, or you have a mat that's a little shorter. When you've rinsed everything down, make sure you rinse your tub out of all soap and then re-rinse their paw pads. That way we're not letting them stand in any soap that's in the bottom of the tub and getting more soap on their back on their feet to be done. Alright, this little fella is all rinsed. Let's get some ears cleaned. I always like to clean my ears after I wash. That way, if any little bit of residual water got into that ear at all, I'm cleaning it out at this point after the tub, rather than doing it before. It just gives me another opportunity to make sure there's no water in that ear whatsoever. And we're just going to gently get in those little folds and clean out his little ears. Doesn't look like we got any water in there. Alright. And we're ready to towel dry. Oh, good boy. Some dogs really prefer the bath to other things, and some get a little stressed out in the tub. So the drying off with the towel part is definitely another opportunity to kind of have a little moment of like, oh, we get to cuddle, you're nice and clean and warm, and you're safe, and everything's good, huh? All right, so we'll move on to the blow drying portion next.